Tes 1 2. Buka gini ya? Buka gini jenggotnya kelihatan. Hah? Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam olahraga. Di Sains S12 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 Distinguished Excellency Rector of Universitas Negeri Sultan, Vice Rector, and all dean of Keolahragaan, distinguished speakers, respected guests, my fellow lecturers and students, ladies and gentlemen, let's introduce Hans Lubis, Dean of Sport Science Fakulti of Universitas Jakarta, also the head of the International Virtual Conference and Workshop. First of all, on behalf of Universitas Negeri. Ini tulisannya ketutupan sama kamera, jadi saya nggak bisa baca. Kemarin kayaknya saya nggak ketutupan deh. Ini kameranya emang begini ya? Tulisan saya ketutup. Saya nggak bisa baca. Please, first of all, on behalf of Universitas Negeri Jakarta, please allow me to give my warm welcome to all representatives and participants from all over the world to Assc 2020. Waktu 30 menit lagi. Coba ya. Nah, ada deh, apa-apa deh. Cukup deh. Saya tegak-tegak aja. Let's introduce myself. My name is Dean of Sport Science Fakulti, Universitas Negeri Jakarta. Also the head of this International Virtual Conference and Workshop. First of all, on behalf of Universitas Negeri Jakarta, please allow me to give my warm welcome to all representatives and participants from all over the world to Assc 2020. Advances in Sport Engineering Conference 2020 with theme Technology in Physical Movement, Innovation through Diversity, Innovation through diversity. That will be held from 19 that, that will be held from 19 to 20 November 2020. As many of you are already aware, the Adventist Sport Engineering Conference is a very first international seminar that will be held by Universitas UNJ with focusing of sport.
Good morning, Professor Nelfianty, Prof. Nagahara.
Hi.
This is Albert.
Oh, okay. Nice to meet you. Hey, you hear me?
Sorry, Prof, you have to unmute it first.
I unmuted. So,
I unmuted already.
That's
It's open.
can you hear me?
hear me?
Hello? Test, test.
Testing, you can hear me? Who should I respond to? Which one you need? True?
Prof, sorry.
Yeah.
Can you say something? I want to test the audio.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Tapi ini enggak. Tapi ini bisa.
One.
You?
Hi.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, yes.
Okay.
Loud and clear.
Okay.
Okay.
And Dr. Nell, you can hear me also?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, can hear.
Now can we try to
Open
share
the
your screen?
PowerPoint?
Yeah, share your
I will
screen
share.
first. Yeah,
Hold on,
Professor Nelfianty
I just
first. Yeah.
open it. Yes, I will
Okay.
open first. I should open earlier, Hold on. I use PDF or normal PowerPoint?
It's up to you actually. We can.
Okay. You can see my this one now?
Not yet.
Cannot?
Not
PowerPoint?
cannot.
Not yet.
Not
Okay.
not yet. Not yet.
I will open the Zoom and share. Oh, sorry. Huh? Okay, I share the screen. You see?
Yeah. Okay.
I will
Yes.
make it the slideshow bigger. You can see now?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Nice.
And clear? My topic will be participation motivation of youths in sports. What does research show? Clear when I talk?
Yes. Clear.
Enough?
Yeah.
The loud, the sound is enough?
Enough.
No need to scream?
Yeah, I
I don't
think
have
it's
to
loud and
use
clear. Yeah.
I don't have to use my earphone?
No,
Can
no, no, no. You don't have
get it?
to. I
Okay,
think it's
thank you
enough.
very
More
much.
than enough.
Okay, see you later.
Okay.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
problem.
See you. Prof, I want to tell you about the rundown. It's the same. So 8 o'clock, it's gonna be the opening. Then 8:30, we start from Professor Anthony Okely from Australia, and then 9 o'clock, it's gonna be Professor Nelfianty yourself,
Yeah?
and then uh, 9:30 to 10 o'clock, it's gonna be Professor Ryu Nagahara.
Okay.
Sorry, you start with Professor.
Oh,
Start
first. Jadi udah langsung. Oh, it start from you actually, Professor Nelvianti.
Oh, me first.
Yes, 8:30.
8:30
to 9 o'clock.
to 9 o'clock.
setelah sambutan
Yeah.
Rector opening
Then
Okay.
Rector.
9 o'clock to 9:30. It's gonna be Professor Ryu Nagahara.
Really?
Yes.
The time
So
has changed.
Yeah, the
yeah, I'm
change. I
sorry
think
because
because I'm the
Anthony.
second.
No, because Anthony Okely have something to do. I mean, like he cannot come for this conference actually suddenly.
Uh, okay. Probably
I'm
I can
sorry,
be here. Yep. So, okay.
but
I'll be
if you
here
want,
at 9.
oh, but it's up to you, Mr. Ryu. I mean, like if you want to start at 9:30, we can
Uh,
do it also.
yeah, I'll available at 9. So I'll
Oh,
talk
you're
from
available.
9 a.m.
Okay, okay,
in Indonesian time.
okay. And then it's gonna be Professor James, and the last one is from Philippines, Mr. Christopher. And then around 11 o'clock, we start the question and answer session.
Apa besok? Iya.
That's it for the rundown.
Itu
And now maybe Mr. you can we can check your audio and share screen. Audio is fine. I think your audio is fine,
Yep.
but we
But
want to check.
Hmm?
We want to check if we can share screen.
she's
Oh yeah,
already
yeah, yeah.
shared it. So can I do that?
Prof. Nelfianty, can you stop
Yeah.
screen share?
Oh, I should stop first, eh?
Yeah, I want to test Mr. Ryu Nagahara
Where should I stop
presentation.
here? Hold on, eh? Stop share. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Ryu, to share the screen, there's an
Tidak
option
join dah ya?
below.
Nampak semua? Ha?
There's a share screen button below, Mr. Ryu, if you want to share screen. Yeah, excellent.
Can you see this?
Yes, yes. Determinants of sprint acceleration performance. Yeah. Can you change? Can you change to other slide? Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Good.
Is okay.
Yeah. It's okay.
Okay.
So I think it's okay now. We're gonna prepare ourselves for the opening ceremony, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll leave here, but I will come back at 9.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
That will be good.
Yeah, me
I'll
too.
keep connect, but I'll not be here until
Oh, okay. Okay.
then. Okay.
Yeah. Also, I want to say sorry about what happened before.
Okay. No worries.
The miscommunication and everything.
Mhm.
Professor Nelfianty and Professor Yu.
Okay,
Once
all the
again,
best.
sorry.
I will get ready.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. See you later.
Thank you very much. See you later.
See you. Saya kena buka skrin saya lagi ya. kita ke apa? Hah? Lepas setengah dia kan? So, 9:30 kita lah. Hah? Kalau tak aja katanya ada betting sama ada orang. Terus ada tengok Aipa Muhammad ni
Good morning.
Ladies and gentlemen, we cordially invite you to stand by and please make sure your account remain mute because the agenda will commence in a moment.
Please make sure Pendeta.
Langsung.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning, Prof. James. Good morning, Mr. Christian Ray.
Yes,
Yes, good morning.
Okay.
Hello, how are you guys?
Good, thank you.
Nanti hubungi Pak Mahfud di negara ya.
Oh ya, untuk itu.
Ya,
Tadi
ada nomornya.
smartphone. Bisa aku cari nih.
Kartu saya ya.
Baik, siap. Okay. I just want to check the audio and the share screen from each speakers. We just did it from Professor Nelfianty, and now we want to check from Mr. Christian Ray.
Okay, sure.
Audio is fine. Audio is good. Can you?
Ladies and gentlemen, we cordially invite you to stand by and please make sure your account remain mute because the agenda will commence in a moment.
Pendeta.
Okay,
jelas
Mr.
Bang.
Christian.
Okay, I'll be
Mau diulang
sharing
lagi?
my screen now. So, it's
Lagi tes audio.
yeah. Can you see the screen now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Biomechanics and technology for sport injuries. Can you change to next page, please?
Okay, sure. So, leave the next
This is
page.
gede. Oh, probably for. Sorry, Mr. Christian. A bit louder or the
Okay,
mic
sure.
near the mic.
How about this? So I can increase
Ini
the
control
volume
na.
on my.
Ini
Okay.
control.
Fine. Yeah, yeah. This is fine. Thank you. Uh, and for Professor James, can we check the
Yes,
audio?
everything is okay. Can you show my paper?
Okay, I'm going to share it now. This one?
Stop
Yes.
kunci atas kursi kecil saja.
Okay.
Okay. Everything is okay. How about my
Atas kursi
signal?
saja. Kursi dalam bilik.
Everything is okay.
Yeah, yeah. Good. Audio
Okay.
is good, Prof. James. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to start in around 5 minutes for the opening ceremony. Okay, thank you for the speakers.
When I don't talk, should I mute my voice?
Yes, please, Prof.
I mute now.
Yeah.
And when start my session only, I will on it.
Yes, yes. So for all the speakers, I'm going
Mute,
to.
unmute, I control myself, is it?
Yes, yes. Please.
Okay.
It's apply the same for Professor James and Mr. Christian. You can unmute and mute yourself.
Okay, that is noted. Thank you.
Yeah. So for the rundown, once again, it's Professor Nelvianti for half an hour from 8:30 to 9 o'clock. Then 9 o'clock to 9:30, it's gonna be Mr. Ryu Nagahara. And then 9:30 to 10 o'clock, it's gonna be Professor James. Then 10 o'clock to 10:30, it's gonna be Mr. Christian Ray. Then we're gonna enter the question and answer session around 11 o'clock. So once again, I will remind you guys about the slot of time. It's it's only like half an hour, 30 to 40 minutes max.
Oh, I can mute and unmute myself. I can stop video share screen. Okay, I don't know. Huh? I unmute first, eh?
enter the gates of Universitas Negeri Jakarta, prepare to take a unique academic journey in a place where multicultural perspectives and practices create an atmosphere that will meet your highest expectations and help you reach your goals. Situated in the heart of the capital city of Indonesia, Universitas Negeri Jakarta has played an important role in developing scholarship in education, science, art, technology, and sport since 1964. Formally established as teacher training institute, Universitas Negeri Jakarta has a long history in providing the state with outstanding teachers. A 1999 mandate by the Ministry of Education and Culture sparked a period of dynamic expansion within the institution, turning it into the leading state university in Indonesia that it is today.
Menghadapi tantangan global di era revolusi industri, diperlukan sumber daya manusia yang unggul, yaitu sumber daya manusia yang kompeten, kreatif, komunikatif, dan kolaboratif. UNJ sebagai perguruan tinggi mempunyai tugas utama dalam bidang kependidikan dan non-kependidikan, juga mempunyai tanggung jawab untuk menghasilkan sumber daya manusia yang unggul. Saat ini, UNJ menetapkan dirinya melalui visi menjadi universitas bereputasi di kawasan Asia. Oleh karena itu, segala daya upaya sekarang ini diupayakan untuk mengembangkan segala potensi yang dimiliki dan berkolaborasi dengan berbagai pihak untuk mencapai reputasi tersebut.
With enlightening and elevating the nation as its motto, Universitas Negeri Jakarta offers world-class programs combined with a touch of local culture through sports, multiculturalism, local wisdom, future leadership, and entrepreneurship. Achievements in pencaksilat, gymnastics, arts, languages, humanities, social and natural sciences stem from a focus on student-centered practical and innovative teaching and learning practices have received international recognition. Our 8 faculties: Faculty of Education, Faculty of Languages and Arts, Faculty of Mathematics and Natural Sciences, Faculty of Social Sciences, Faculty of Engineering, Faculty of Sports Sciences, Faculty of Economics, Faculty of Psychological Education, Graduate School, Master Programs. Graduate School, Doctoral Programs. One graduate school and 101 study programs comprising of diploma, undergraduate, and postgraduate levels. Universitas Negeri Jakarta will prepare you to meet the demands of local and global professional industries. Warm welcomes awaits you as you become a member of Universitas Negeri Jakarta's family.
Ladies and gentlemen, we cordially invite you to stand by and please make sure your microphones remain mute because the agenda will commence in a moment. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, honorables, distinguished speakers, participants, ladies and gentlemen. It is a tremendous honor and pleasure for me, Nafla, as the student ambassador of Universitas Negeri Jakarta, to be the master ceremony of this conference. First of all, let us praise and thank God for His blessings as we gather here on this occasion. His Excellency, Rector of Universitas Negeri Jakarta, Professor Dr. Komarudin M.Si, the honorable speakers, Professor Anthony Okely from University of Wollongong, Australia, Associate Professor Participants, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to send you an apology for the technical issue we have today. Please.
distinguished speaker, respected guests, my fellow lecturer and students, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce myself. My name is Johan Salubis, Dean of Sports Science Fakulty of Universitas Negeri Jakarta. Also the hands on behalf of Universitas Negeri, Professor Dr. Nelfianty binti Muhammad Rasyid from University Pendidikan Sultan Idris, Malaysia, Ryu Nagahara, Ph.D. from National of Fitness of Sport in Kanoya, Japan, Professor Dr. James Tangkudung, SportMed, M.Pd. from Universitas Negeri Jakarta, Indonesia, and Associate Professor Christian Ray, the other. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam olahraga.
Thank you to Dr. Johan Sahilubis, M.Pd, for the report. And after we hear the report from Dr. Johan Shahlubis, we would like to invite the Rector of Universitas Negeri Jakarta to deliver his remarks and officially open this event. Please welcome Professor Dr. Komarudin M.S.
Distinguished speakers and participants, my fellow lecturers and students, it is a great pleasure for Universitas Negeri Jakarta to welcome you to this conference on Advanced in Sport Engineering Conference 2020. I wish a warm welcome to all speakers and participants of the conference. Our center is equipped with modern facilities such as labs of sport science. Ladies and gentlemen, I must say this conference is very important to enhance quality of sport science and embrace more research on sport engineering. As I know, sport engineering is an integral part of education to develop human resources in general. Therefore, I hope in this conference such issues could be adequately addressed. To end my speech, I must extend high appreciation to the chairperson, Dr. Johan Salubis, M.Pd, and his team who have made today's program happen. Last but not least, appreciation must also be addressed to all speakers and participants of this conference. Without you, all this event could not run as planned. Ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy the conference. I hope you find it fruitful and give significant benefits. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam olahraga.
Jaya. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Komarudin M.Se, for the remarks and officially open this event.
You're welcome.
Distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen, moving on to our main agenda, the panel session of Advanced in Sport Engineering Conference. This session will be moderated by Mr. Susilo D.E.D. to read a short biography of Mr. Susilo D.E.D. Mr. Susilo D.E.D. is current Vice Rector for Planning and Cooperation Staff, Secretary General of ACESS, Scientific Advisor Global Health Community, member of Asian Journal of Physical Education and Sport Science. His experiences in sport practice are pickleball coach national team, and also invited speaker IPEEC in Taiwan 2018. Mr. Susilo holds undergraduate degree from UNESA and also the same university where he holds his master degree. And he also graduated from CCNU China doctoral degree. So without any further ado, please welcome Mr. Susilo DED. Time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Om Swastiastu, salam kebajikan, nama budaya, salam olahraga. Your Excellencies, Rector of Universitas Negeri Jakarta, honorable speakers and writers, and all audience in the
Videonya
conference of
bisa
advanced sport
dihidupkan.
during in
Terima kasih.
physical movement, innovation, truth, diversity. On this special
Mohon videonya.
guests and ladies and gentlemen, the session will be spread to two sessions. First, the session for the question and answer session, which is for participants in private question and chat section on Zoom. We will be limiting the question to 5 questions, and we'll choose the question. Ladies and gentlemen, today different country, different culture. We'll sharing our knowledge, research, and this conference about sport technology. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, I would like to give opportunity to our speaker. Please welcome Prof. Nelfianty binti Muhammad Rasyid, University Pendidikan Sultan Idris, Malaysia. Please
Hello, everyone.
welcome.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Okay, testing. Can see my video? You can.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, of course.
Shall I start now?
Yes, please.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. And a very good morning to everyone. My name is Nelfianty Muhammad Rasyid, a senior lecturer from Faculty of Sports Science and Coaching, Sultan Idris Education University. Today, my topic will be participation motivation of youths in sports. What does research show? Let me introduce you to my country, Malaysia. This is Malaysia. And the capital of Malaysia is Kuala Lumpur. Everyone knows Kuala Lumpur. And I'm working in Tanjung Malim, Perak. It is about 80 kilometers from Kuala Lumpur. And Malaysia population is around 32.5 million. So this is my university. Sultan Idris Education University, University Pendidikan Sultan Idris, established in 1922 and known as #1 education university. So that's all about my country and my lovely university. Participation motivation of youth in sport. What does research show? That is my topic. But first, let's begin with the definition of motivation. Motivation is a very complex concept and hard to define. Motivation derives from the word motive, and the Latin form of this word is mover. That means to move. According to Sage in 1977, motivation is a direction and intensity of the effort. Sports psychologist, Fox 1988, define motive as the desire to fulfill a need. So, motivation is a force that directs efforts, energy, and persistence toward participatory choices. Next, motivation is one of the single most important themes in all of the psychology field. It is widely researched in sport and exercise. And the focus in this field was to know what factor lead us to engage in the behavior that we do. Understanding the universal question is why of behavior. And why? So, why individuals participate in sport? That's the one question. Why individuals participate in sport and why some are not interested to participate at all? And why some discontinue their participation? This is the question that needs to answer to motivate people to participate in sport continuously and excel in high performance sport. Okay, youths involved in sport for many reasons and to fulfill various needs, such as for fun, for improved skill, to do something they're good at, to get exercise, to be with friends, to compete, and etc. There is some of the common themes why youths participate in sports. A lot more motive you can see. And the previous research revealed that there are differences in motivation to participate in sport among youths based on gender, based on experience, based on age, based on type of sport they play, and based on culture they stay. So study on main motive of participation in sport is the effective way to provide an optimum environment which can attract youth's interest. So I have already touched on the definition of motivation and an introduction of why people participate in sports. Now let's look in depth of the research done in this area. Research on participation motivation in sport among youths worldwide will be presented, and the research finding from Malaysian sports school athletes will be elaborated in depth. I will share on how progress on participation motivation sport among youth studies in from 1970 to the year of 2020. A lot of research have been done, but I highlight a few. Finding to see the development of participation motivation, what we know about youth motive to participate, and also future study recommendation. So, this is the table you see in the table 1, show a few findings from the earliest research from 1970 to the year of 1980s. Thelma in 1979 did research on 3,000 children from Finland, aged 11 to 19, found that there are different of motive, where the younger children participate more on achieving in competition and adolescent for relaxation and recreation. Okay, and in Canada Fitness Survey in 1983, they found that the motifs are diverse, ranging from enjoying, enjoyment, learning and improving a skill, being with friends, success, physical fitness, and health. In 1987, Herbert revealed that main motive for youth in Cardiff was fitness, weight loss, having more free time, and maintain a good health. And in 1995, Buonamano et al. Did a survey on 2,500 Italian youths, and they found that Italian main motive is enjoyment, followed by health, fitness, social reason, competition, skill motive, and status. Manson in England, in his study, found that motifs are diverse, ranging from general enjoyment and to fitness and friendship. And Ewing and Sheffield in 1996 did a research on 8,000 youths, and they found that boys' motives are for fun, to do something they could add, to improve skill, excitement of competition, because they want to stay in shape, challenge of competition, get exercise, learn new skill, to play as part of esteem and higher level of competition. While the difference between the girls is girls play for fun, also stay in a shape, get exercise, improve skill, to do something they are good at, to learn new skill, excitement of the competition, to play as part of esteem and make a new friend, and also to challenge of competition. As you can see, the fun element is the important motive for youth participation in sport. This research on participation motivation continue in the year of 2000, where Winberg and the team do a cross-cultural analysis to find the motivation on sport and physical activity in youth. From 3 different countries, they are United States, Australia, and New Zealand. Their finding reveal that United States youth choose motive for fun, fitness, teamwork, and competition were more important reason for participation in competitive sport. And United States and Australia, youth exercise more for extrinsic and intrinsic reason than the participant from the New Zealand. And males tended to be motivated by the competition itself, whereas female favor for social affiliation and also fitness. And in 2006, Alexandra et al. Study on youth, children and teenagers in UK. They found that young children choose motive for experimentation, unusual activities, parental support, safe environment as an important motive they participate, whereas teenagers and young women choose body shape, weight management, new social network, family support, peer support as their main motive. Okay, we goes on. In 2015, Kilpatrick and colleague differentiate between the sport participation and the exercise participation. And they found that sport participation were more likely to report intrinsic motives such as enjoyment and challenge for engaging in sport, while exercise participants were more extrinsic and focused on appearance, weight, and stress management. Goes to Wahtio and friends do the research to bowler athletes in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and they found that male bowlers showed higher intrinsic motivation compared with female bowler, while male bowler also have higher extrinsic motivation for identified regulation, and no significant bowler type difference were found for either the intrinsic or extrinsic motivation dimension. Ong, yeah? Study done by Ong in 2017 to the national Singaporean athlete revealed that males have higher motivation through competitions than female. Male higher. And team sport athletes have higher motivation through competition than individual sport athletes. Athletes of higher competitive level have greater task-related motivation than athletes with lower competitive level. Goes to Muhammad Kastida et al. In 2017, study on Iranian university. They found Iranian university students, and they found that positive relationship between intention to continue in sport and ego and task orientation, both. And a task involving orientation emerged as a positive predictor of the autonomous motivation, while an ego involving orientation was a positive predictor of control motivation as well as autonomous motivation. And recently, in the year 2020, the research from Toy and the team investigate the correlation between mental toughness and goal orientation among elite wrestlers. They found that there is a positive correlation between the task orientation and high confidence and ego orientation with low confidence. And study by Chu and Shin, two students who participate in 3 days recreational sport activity in Japan, discovered that recreational sport activity positively influence student exercise flow, and participation motivation positively affected psychological happiness. So, research interest in participation motivations emerged in 1970s has grown exponentially. In sports school, where the mission is to develop world-class athletes. So it is a compulsory for coaches and administrative to understand the player's motive so that they can provide an optimum environment for the athlete to achieve their mission. You can see here some studies from the sports school athlete was conducted. Wang and the team in 1996 they found that Chinese sports school athletes' motive was competition, energy release, family influence, and achievement rewards. The difference between the regular school student when the regular school student is more to team orientation and social activity. Conrad et al. In 2013 study a difference among sports school students from 3 countries. The research revealed that Slovenia student athletes are for social status, fitness and health, relaxation, sport action and friendship, popularity and sport events, while the Croatia athletes choose popularity as their first motive, followed by the sports event, social status, sport action and friendship, fitness and health, relaxation, And the last, the Germany student athlete choose fitness and health, popularity, sport events, relaxation, sport action and friendship, and also for social status. They also found differences in gender where male play more for popularity and female for relaxation. Next, let's look at the Malaysian sports school athlete. My research on participation motivation of students athletes have been performed in two sports schools in Malaysia, that is Bukit Jalil and Tunku Mahkota Ismail Sports School. A study involved 854 athletes. Instrument used in the study was Sport Participation Questionnaire, MPS, developed by myself. And this MPF has 9 factors of participation motive in sport, that is pride for the family, improving skill, health and physical fitness, doing the country proud, yearn for challenges, better future, eager to succeed, emotional stability, and self-pride. That is the 9 factor for MPS. And result of the study. Result of the study showed that the main motive for sports school athlete in Malaysia ranked accordingly was they played sports school athlete in Malaysia. First, they play for pride for their family, improving skill, health and physical fitness. That's the top 3. Pride for the family, improving skill, health and physical fitness, followed by doing the country proud, yearn for challenges, better future, eager to succeed, emotional stability, and self-pride. From this table, you can see that it shows that there is a difference of motive for participation in sport based on gender. Show that male athlete found to be higher significantly in all the motive compared to female. Male are higher on all the participation motive. And based on age group, you can see here that study showed significantly different among age group in motive for pride for the family, doing the country proud, better future, and self-pride. That's the 4 motive. There is a difference in the age. And the post hoc test revealed that a younger athlete, that is under 15 athlete, were more encouraged by motive pride for the family, doing the country proud, better future, and self-pride than the under 18 and 21 years old, the younger. Okay. I also have the opportunity to run these 2 different studies using the same questionnaire to investigate the Malaysian hockey team motive and also the player that participate in USM Penang International Hockey Festival. And as you can see, the results show that Malaysian national hockey team top 3 motifs are improving skill, health and physical fitness, and pride for the family, followed by yearn for challenges, emotional stability, doing the country proud, eager to succeed, better future, and the last is the self-pride. And for the results on a recreational hockey player who is participating in USM Penang International Hockey Festival revealed that the top 3 motifs are health and physical fitness, improving skills, and eager to succeed, followed by yearn for the challenges, pride for the family, better future, emotional stability, self-pride, and doing the country proud. As you can see, both Malaysian environment family, you can see in Malaysian environment family support for pride for the family is one of the important reasons for youths to participate in sports. And I believe We need to do something to make sure our athletes get the full support from their family. Okay. Understanding of youth participation motive has come a long way. So what is needed for the future study? This is the fourth thing is needed for future study, and the number one, a shift from descriptive to theory-driven studies. Shift from descriptive to theory-driven studies, as a shift from an early descriptive study that revealed a robust reason for why youth participates in sport and physical activity. Few theories has been to advancing the knowledge of youth participation. These include theories like competent motivation theory, self-determination theory, and also achievement goal theory, the top theory covered this school. And the second one, we need a shift from cross-sectional to longitudinal and intervention design. As you can see from my explanation, majority of the early studies were characterized by cross-sectional design, typically using survey. So a greater attention need such as longitudinal design. Example, how do social variables predict physical activity motivation from pre to post-season? And also intervention design such as does an experiment group show more favorable developmental outcomes compared with the control group? And the third one, we need a shift from limited to varied quantitative and qualitative methods. Most of the earlier research was a quantitative study. For further research, qualitative and mixed method approaches is needed to explore a topic in depth. And the last but not least, a shift from to purposeful samples in more inclusive physical activity. Sorry. Future studies should focus on purposive samples such as select sample for particular reason, example, reason at risk, for low physical activity, or specific sport programs and type, and offer a rationale for this selection. Okay. And the thought I would like to leave you with is, as a parents, teachers, coaches, and others involved in the promotion of youth sport significantly influence the achievements, motivation of youth, and can create climate that enhance achievements. This is the top things. And they must structure situation to meet the needs of each participant. The tactic used to motivate this athlete may be very different from the tactic used to motivate other athletes. And the best combination of goal orientation and motivational climate is to be task and ego oriented in conjunction with a mastery climate. This combination yield the highest level of actual performance, personal satisfaction, and also the enjoyment, the best important thing. And for future research may provide a greater understanding of the roles of individual differences and contextual factor in individuals' motivation in sports. And by then, thank you very much. The champions needs a motivation above beyond winning. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. Nelfi from Malaysia, uh, for your beautiful presentation today. And then this new experience, new knowledge for us, for all the audience. And then we're talking about psychology, this important thing to achieve high performance. So the large area, and an important thing is about parents, coachings, teachers, and environment. So that's one can improve or high performance. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, We continue our presenter. Please welcome Professor Nagahara, Ph.D. from National Institute of Fitness and Sport in Kanoya, Japan. Please welcome and give applause for presenter.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Can you see the slides?
Yes.
Okay. Can I start? Okay. Thank you for introduction. And I'm honored to present my studies at here. Unfortunately, I couldn't be in Indonesia, but almost 1 year ago, I visited Indonesia, and hopefully in the near future, I'd like to visit again and meet some of my friends. And today I'm going to talk about the sprinting and its performance in terms of the biomechanical perspective. First, I'd like to show you my university. The National Institute of Fitness and Sports in Kanoya is an only public sports university in Japan. And our university is located south part of Japan in Kagoshima Prefecture. So around here. And here's Indonesia. So this picture shows our university. And so I'm here now, and I'm from around here. So in our university, a new unique facility for sports performance research is opened in 2015, and there is a long force platform system which consists of 54 force platforms and can sample the ground reaction forces for 52 meters long. This is one of the advantages of our university for performing the sports performance researches, and this kind of system is only one in the world. So you have been collaborating with many researchers from all over the world. So this figure shows what we can obtain using a long force platform system. The red line indicates the medial lateral ground reaction force, and blue line indicates forward and backward ground reaction force, and black line indicates the vertical ground reaction force. So as you can see, this kind of ground reaction force can measure in single trial and can provide just after the trial. So what is the benefit of immediate feedback of the data? These figures show the spatial temporal variables like running speed, step frequency, and step length, and so on. So the athlete can have the feedback just after the trial, and they can use the information in the next trial. So this is very important for the scientific support for the athletes to improve their performance during the training. So these figures shows the ground reaction force, and these can also be provided just after the trial. So I don't have much time today to talk about the system, but this is an introduction of our facility. And this video is made by the broadcasting company, and unfortunately, this is made for Japanese, so you cannot understand what they say, but you can understand how and we can measure the ground action force and what is the facility of our university. So using that system, you have been measured the data for the many sprinters and jumpers and also some ball game athletes. And he's a Olympic game medalist, and some of the very good elite sprinters came to here and measure the data, and the data is used to improve their performance. So today I cannot show entire video, but probably you have understood what we can do in our facility. So today there are two topics in my presentation. At first, I will show you a concept of sprint transition and sections. And then I will talk about the determinants of sprint performance in terms of the kinetic and kinematic features, like a sprint technique. The selling point of my studies are collecting the data step to step during the entire acceleration phase. So this approach provides better understanding of the sprinting and its determinants. Sprinting has multiple aspects because the sprinting at initial acceleration and top speed is totally different. So it's very important to consider the performance and determinants at multiple locations and aspects. So this figure on the left side shows the changes in running speed during the acceleration phase of the 100-meter race. The maximum running speed during the race appears around here at the 50-meter mark for the national level sprinters. And the maximum running speed is highly correlated with goal time. So the figure shows the relationship between the 100-meter race time and maximum running speed on the left side and time to maximum speed on the right side. The figure clearly shows that the time to maximum speed from the start does not relate to the performance on the right side here, but the maximum speed does. So maximum speed significantly and strongly correlated with 100-meter race time. So it's very important to increase the maximum speed to improve the sprint performance for 100-meter race. And the duration of the acceleration cannot be prolonged for the better performance. So the ability to accelerate during the limited time is critical for 100-meter race performance, and to develop the acceleration ability should be prioritized. So this is one of the reasons why I study accelerated sprinting from the multiple aspects. From the practical perspective, it has been mentioned that there are sections during the acceleration phase of the maximum speed, maximum sprinting. And it has been said that to recognize the sections is important for improving the sprint performance. Moreover, it was sometimes mentioned that there is an abrupt transition during the sections, between the sections during the acceleration phase. So, however, there was no study on clear evidence of the sections of the difference in biomechanical features. So practically, the coaches said there is a transition, but scientifically, they had never clarified whether there is a transition during the sprint acceleration. So I did the research when I was a PhD student. The stick picture on the left side shows I'm not sure you can see the video, but the stick picture shows the changes in sprint kinematics during the entire acceleration phase. I collected the data using the 60 Bicon cameras and for the 50-meter distance. The figure on the right side is the results and show that the step-to-step changes in CZ height, this body center of gravity height. And as you can see, there are alterations of the magnitude of the CZ height. Magnitude of the CZ elevation during the entire acceleration phase. And 2 breakpoints can be detected using these CZ height elevation. These alterations of magnitude of elevation of the CZ could be seen for all participants. So we investigated 12 sprinters, and all of them showed the similar trend of changes in CZ height. So based on the detected breakpoints, the entire acceleration phase could be divided into 3 sections. And I have been calling the alterations from the one section to the next section as transition. On average, the first transition step was at the 4th step and approximately at the 5-meter mark. And the second transition was at 14th step and at approximately 22nd meter from the start. So using the CZ height, the acceleration phase, the entire acceleration phase can be divided into 3 sections. CZ movement is caused by the ground reaction force, so our facility can measure the ground reaction force step to step until the 50-meter mark. So we could investigate changes in ground reaction force during the entire acceleration phase. The figure on the top shows the braking phase. And the braking phase and the vertical ground reaction force. The shed area indicates the vertical ground reaction force during the braking phase. And I calculated the vertical impulse during the braking phase. And the figure on the bottom shows the changes in vertical impulse during the braking phase. As you can see, at around the 5th step, there is a abrupt increase in vertical impulse during the braking phase. So it is very easy to find the breakpoints as a characteristics of transition. And this could be found at the 5th step, around the 5th step for every athlete. So this can be considered as a phenomenon of the first transition. And the breakpoint can be easily be detected visually. So in terms of ground reaction force, there is also some abrupt changes, and this can be considered as a transition phenomenon. These figures show the step-to-step changes in support distance and duration of the first half of the support phase during the entire acceleration phase. The duration of the first half of the support phase was from the foot slide to the instant when the CZ passed above the foot location. For both variables, the values abruptly increased at the next step of the first transition step, indicating that the abrupt adaptation of the human locomotor system at the next step of that first transition. Moreover, the foot placement at the foot slide moved from behind to in front of the CZ at the next step of the first transition step. So the foot strike location moved to in front of the body at the next step of the first transition. The figure on the right side shows the changes in knee joint angle during the support phase from the second step before to third step after the detected first transition step. This shows the data at the second step before the transition. And until the transition step, there is no fraction of the knee joint angle during the support phase. However, at the next step of the transition, the knee joint first flexed and then extended during the support phase. And this knee joint changes in knee joint during the support phase also continued until the end of the race, end of the 100-meter sprint. So this is also abrupt changes in kinematic feature of the sprinters during the acceleration phase and can be considered as a characteristics of first transition. The next is characteristics of the second transition. Actually, the second transition happens smoothly in contrast to the first transition. These figures on the upper side showed the step-to-step changes in thoracic and pelvic lean angle during the entire acceleration phase. So thorax and pelvis angle during the acceleration phase. As you can see, the magnitude of changes in both angles alter around the second transition at the 14th step. So the changes in thorax angle and changes in pelvic angle become small around the second transition. This indicates that the stable applied trunk appeared from the second transition during the sprinting. The figure on the bottom show the step-to-step changes in mean support hip extension velocity. So support hip extension velocity and range of hip extension friction during the entire acceleration phase. Both hip kinematic variables start to decrease from the second transition as a characteristic feature of the second transition step. So around the second transition, the changes in kinematics are smooth, but there is unique changes in kinematic variables at around the second transition step. As summary, the findings, there are characteristic changes in kinematics during the sprint acceleration as a transition during this acceleration. Based on the two transitions, the entire acceleration can be divided into three sections. At the next step of the first transition, the foot placement and knee joint kinematics abruptly changes as an abrupt adaptation of the human locomotor system. Around the second transition, the changes in CZ height and trunk angle stopped, and hip extension velocity during the support phase and the range of hip motion starts to decrease. I'd like to tell you at last that while there are breakpoints and sections, I have never found so far the influence of transition there is no influence on the transition on the sprint performance. So actually there are abrupt changes in variables, but the human locomotor system can regulate the motion as a whole locomotor system so that the athlete can accelerate smoothly. So each variable shows the abrupt change, but running speed smoothly increase until the maximum speed phase. So next topic is the determinants of sprint acceleration performance. And this figure shows that on the left side shows the changes in running speed, step length, and step frequency, and rate of changes in these variables. We investigated the relationship between the acceleration with rate of changes in step length and frequency. So the results, this figure shows the changes in correlation coefficient at each step during the acceleration phase. In general, during the initial acceleration section, the acceleration significantly correlated with step frequency. And in the next section, during the middle acceleration phase, the significant relationship was found between the acceleration and step length. And at the last section, during the last section, the significant correlation was found between the acceleration with step length or step frequency. So based on the significant correlation between the acceleration with rate of changes in step length or frequency, the acceleration can also be divided into three sections at the fourth and also the 15th step. I have been investigating the relationship using a multiple cohort, and for the relationship between acceleration and step frequency is not necessarily exist for every group of athletes, but for the relationship between acceleration with rate of changes in step length during the middle acceleration section, and also with step length or with rate of changes in step length or frequency during the later acceleration is always exist for every athlete. So these two aspects can be applied for every sprinters, in my opinion. So as I already told you, the transition doesn't relate to the performance of the sprinting, but to recognize the sections could improve the training strategy and the training itself to make a better performance during the sprint acceleration. In terms of the ground reaction force, this study investigated the relationship of the acceleration performance with ground reaction force in the anterior posterior direction, and left background indicates the significant relationship. The initial anterior posterior force production during the mid and late portion was positively associated with average horizontal acceleration performance. As athletes progressed through acceleration, this positive association with performance shifted toward the earlier phases. So an initial acceleration phase, the significant relationship was found around here during the middle and later of the propulsion phase. But the significant relationship was found much earlier phase during the later acceleration phase, especially during the second braking phase. So the important aspects of the ground reaction force shifted during the sprint acceleration. So during the initial acceleration, more propulsive producing more greater propulsion force is important. But during the later acceleration section, the suppressed braking force is more important to make a better performance during the sprint acceleration. Okay. So in the next study, we examine the kinematic feature. During the initial acceleration phase, the contribution of the thigh is higher among the three segments of the lower extremity. So, and the greater contribution of the thigh is one of the important aspects of the better sprint performance. So the faster hip extension is important during the initial acceleration. But during the middle section, the contribution of the shank become important. So the fast rotation of the shank during the support phase is of the key feature of the sprint technique. And during the later acceleration section, the contribution of the shank and foot become important. So the fast rotation of the shank in accompanied with foot is important to make a better performance. So fast rotation of the shank and foot could improve the sprint performance. And another important feature of that last section, the final section, is that the hip flexion during the later support phase. So fast hip flexion during the later support phase. So the breaking the hip backward movement is of great importance to improve the performance. And what should I say is the important feature changes during the acceleration phase. So the important aspects should be changed for coaching for sprinters. So this is one of the key message for my from my presentation. So actually today I have not much time, so I shortly explain, but from the kinetic aspect, joint kinetics of the string leg, the positive part, hip power production. So hip extension around the middle acceleration section is important, and during the later acceleration section, negative power production at the knee becomes important during the later swing phase. So during the swing phase, during the later swing phase, the knee produces the friction moment, but the knee moving forward. So decelerate the forward motion of the shank is great importance. Is of great importance to achieve the better performance during the later acceleration section. So this is the joint kinetic feature of the better acceleration performance. Using these updated knowledge, the Japanese sprinters get better, and they broke the 10-second barrier, and they got 3 medals in the recent Olympic Games and World Championships. So unfortunately, I couldn't share the monitor. I only could share the application, so I cannot show you today what we can do using our feedback system, and we have limited time. So I passed this slide, and hopefully in the near future I could show you in person in Indonesia what we can do using our system. So this is the conclusion. I will finish my talk. Thank you for your listening today.
Prof. Nagahara from Japan. Fantastic presentation today. New knowledge for us. What you do is similar within our university, but the difference thing is you are Shiki. So we can continue our collaboration, maybe research or send lecture or student to do research together.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Distinguished speaker, ladies and gentlemen, I think you have a question in your minds. Please write down in chat room, and then the host will be choose the best question, the last presentation of all 5 speaker. Then we can discussing for that. Okay, the next speaker, I will call him. He is our friends, our college, our teachers, and our father. Who is it?
Thank you.
Professor Dr. James Tangkudung, M.Pd Sport Med.
Thank
Please
you.
welcome Prof. James.
Thank you, Dr. Susilo. Yes.
Please welcome.
Yeah. Excellency, dear speaker, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning.
Good
Today,
morning.
today I will speak about my experiment with my patient about COVID-19 and the sequela. Sequela means residual symptom. What about things? Today I will speak also about the exercise immunology. Exercise immunology to compare to the other research literacy from many journals of sports medicine. I'm James Tangkudung. My medical doctor degree is from Frankfurt University, Germany, and then specialized in sports medicine in University of Frankfurt, Germany. And then also my master degree in sports education in IKIP Jakarta, and then doctor degree in sports education also in UNJ, now called UNJ. I will begin with today quota. Health is not everything. Again, health is not everything, but without healthy, you cannot do anything. If you have problem with your healthy, you cannot do anything. That's why I will talk about how myokine through exercise can fight against COVID-19 and sequela. Sequela means residual symptom, which is persistent until 2 months of hospitalization. So that's why first I will say that the skeletal muscle is the large tissue in our body. The accounting for that about 30% of the body mass in woman, skeletal muscle is about 30%, and man about 40%. Although the skeletal muscle is very plastic because can enlarge with adaptation to specific exercise and also high protein content and reduce metabolic processor or inflammation caused by COVID-19 and others. That's why I will speak because I will show you here to compare to the other researcher about this thema today. Like you know, all the nation have the same problem, to fight COVID-19. Also in Indonesia. In Indonesia, we have about 48,000 cases, 80,000 cases with case fatality rate about 3%, about 15,000 so death. And because Indonesia is a large country, of course, we have the problem as a number one is Southeast country about the COVID cases. Number two, I think Filipina. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's why I will talk you why it's important to do exercises. Yeah, because with exercise, the body release, release myokine. Myokine is a muscle from the muscle after movement. And myokine is a protein which can fight all the inflammation in our body. Like we know, the skeletal muscle by movement after the fiber, axon and myosin slice, and then the movement come. Then the movement come, produce myokine. That's why myokine is one of the new research funding today, and very important for our healthy. Please show my paper. Yeah, show me my paper. Yes, here. You see, actin myosin breaks muscle contraction, release myokines. Myokines is important because ATP is out. ATP adenotriphosphate, and then make modulation to all part of the body to move, to work against, especially against everything antigen or something come from out, include COVID-19. Oke, mau lanjut. Jadi ini penting karena mengeluarkan myokin. Myokin adalah penemuan terakhir yang baru. Ya. Lanjut, please. Selanjutnya, ini penting untuk diketahui karena saya melakukan ini perbandingannya. This is to compare to the other literacy how myokines exert things, yeah, how myokin do things against for all part of our body. Like we know in our body we have two type of muscle. The other is skeletal muscle, yeah, and the other is organ muscle. That's why we need an exercise in two type of exercise. Like we know in exercise we can do aerobic exercise with the low or medium doses, yeah, training by heart rate about 120, 130, and we can go also exercise with anaerobic, which means the white muscle will work for that. About in intensity about 160 to 160 and 170 heart rate. So we can lanjut more please the paper. I will show you what is the sequel. Sequel, like I said before, sequel is the residual symptom after somebody come out from the hospitalization. So I make my own self this experiment with two of my friends from my neighbor who come out from the hospitalization caused by COVID-19. And we do exercise every morning till now 9 months. Yeah, we do exercise by walking and jogging about 1 hour. Our steps is we have our step by walking about 12,000 steps. 12,000 steps. And then we make a test about that. So first, all the protein, all the protein and the endocrine effect can can be measured by them. So, in other words, I will talk about how important is to make exercise to repair all the cells after damaging by coronavirus 19. Why? Because the cells will work to make repairing. So we got after physical activity about 30 minutes till 1 hour, the myokin have multiple endocrine biological effect. What it is, the cell will be new. Yes, we call angiogenesis. Also, neovascularization. Also, synaptogenesis and neurogenesis. Artinya, memperbaiki semua kerusakan yang terjadi, ya, untuk mencari keseimbangan, the homeostasis in the world, in our body. That's why myokines is very important. If we can call about myokin, so I will say that is like a pill. We can call myokin as a sport pills. Ya, oke, lanjut semuanya. This is the effect after exercise. Lanjut. Nah, ini juga nanti please you can have this you can copy of all of this my paper. Lanjut. This is the literacy from the sport medicine journals. Yeah, what we find about that, all the myokines protein, which work as a antibody, better than cytokine. Cytokine can be changed by myokines. Cytokines come overreaction because we didn't work, we didn't move. That's why myokine is better than to produce cytokine. Yeah, because cytokine make problem with the inflammation. Terus lanjut, more, please, more please. Lanjut. Nah, ini penelitiannya. This is the research literacy. I compare with. Lanjut. More, please. Lanjut cepat aja. Terus. Please. Yes, yeah. Okay, ini that's the different. Terus, yes. Terus, lanjut. Yes. Okay, lanjut. That's I have many research also do, and you can look at it as a Scopus journal about my research. Lanjut. That is one of the exercise which induce myokines. You can see here, we can do aerobic and we can do anaerobic. That is the frequency, intensity, and time. Yeah. Before this anaerobic, we got. Before anaerobic, we have also aerobic. Please, yeah, show that. Yeah. Lanjut. Terus. Yes, stop. This is the yang tadi. Ya, yang tadi dulu. Ya. Tolong ini ditahan dulu. Nah, kalau kok dipindahin yang tadi. Ya, ini tanda-tanda simptomnya ya. Ini tanda-tanda simptomnya pada saat dia sakit dan tanda-tanda sisa atau sequel setelah dia keluar dari rumah sakit. You can see that during the acute COVID-19 fase and then after that. Nah, secara garis besar itu dibagi atas simptom fisik, and the last one is that's all. Lanjut. So that's why it's last but not least, I'm 60 years old, and every day morning I go walking and jogging for 1 hour, and so after now I make my own experience or experiment. I said to my friend, I make self-vaccination by vaksinasi alam. Yeah. So that's why I already got 3 times rapid test with the negative result or non-reactive. So I can go everywhere, yeah, after exercise, and everywhere I do exercise. Like 1 month ago in Jogja, today I'm in Manado, and next week I will in Bali. I will always walk or jogging. Thank you very much for your attention. Stay healthy and salam olahraga. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. James Tangkudung. Interesting presentation from you about your research about myokine effect in body, special in COVID pandemic. Now COVID is a problem in the world. So until now we didn't know the vaccines for COVID. So we have to take care of our body self. Thank you for your presentation.
By
So we
exercise. By
have to
exercise.
exercise.
Yes.
Yes, exercise minimum 30 minutes until 1 hour for
Yes.
flow myokine.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah,
Right.
and
Right. Right.
then yeah, we know as Professor James Cardone, 60 years old. He is still fit because he active,
68. Sorry.
keep
68.
moving, be active, be
68.
healthy. Okay,
68.
ladies and gentlemen, and this guest distinguishing, uh, we next agenda. We have one more speakers. Please welcome Professor Christian Raiderimando, M.Si from University of Santo Tomas, Philippines. Hi, Professor Christians. I want to tell you, I have friend in Santo Thomas University, Mr. Jerome. He is graduate from State University of Jakarta. His doctoral degree last year's, I think he graduated from Universitas Negeri Jakarta. And then 3 months ago, he invited me as a speaker in high performance coachings. So maybe you meet him, say hello for him, okay? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Prof. Christian Rai for your time. Give applause for him.
Hello, good day, everyone. So, thank you very much for inviting me here. And yes, I will relay that message to Jerome. Yes, he's also a good friend of mine. So, now I hope that you can see my presentation. So, is it already flashed? And is my audio clear for my presentation?
Yes.
Okay, so that's good. So I guess I will now start with my presentation. It's entitled Biomechanics and Technology for Sports Injuries, a Physical Therapy Perspective. So allow me first um, to greet everyone, magandang umaga, which means good morning here in the Philippines. So I am Christian Rimando and I am a registered physical therapist here in the Philippines. And I am so honored and so grateful for this opportunity to share about physical therapy perspective on the use of biomechanics and technology for sports injuries. So after Professor Dr. Nelfianty introduced to us her beautiful country, Malaysia, and Dr. Ryu for Japan, I would like also to proudly present my own country, the Philippines, which is a very good neighbor to Indonesia. So in Manila, the country's capital, we can see here the 409-year-old Pontifical and Royal University of Santo Tomas, at which I am teaching right now. So for the disclosure, I am declaring that there are no conflict interests in relation to this presentation. And for my references, for this presentation mostly came from systematic reviews and meta-analysis and other relevant literatures together with my own research. So to start, sports-related injury is a common health concern that is experienced anywhere globally. These injuries inevitably affect the performance of the athletes, especially their ability to win medals. So the literature reported ranging from 2 to 4 per 1,000 hours of training and competition exposure on various levels and disciplines that are getting affected with injuries. So looking now at the evidence, it seems that biomechanical variables about risk injuries are sparse and different. So it varies. Thus, it warrants more specific and more individualized approach for each condition. So these photos that you are seeing right now depict some of the commonly encountered injuries by our athletes. And once they suffer from such, we are now faced to these questions. So what should we do? How should we deal with the injury? Should the athlete return to the competition or training immediately, or will it take time? And maybe the essence of my presentation right now is to share some of the physical therapy biomechanical perspectives on these questions. According to the Global Confederations of Physical Therapists, physical therapy or physiotherapy help people maximize their quality of life, looking at physical, psychological, emotional, and social well-being. And I think that was well discussed by our first speaker a while ago, that there's also the psychological component of it. So they work in the health spheres of promotion, prevention, treatment, intervention, and rehabilitation. And particularly, I want to highlight that as a physiotherapist, in terms of sports practice, there's such a thing as sports physiotherapy specialization, at which there's the dedicated assessment and treatment of injuries related to sports and exercises at all levels at various ages. So physical therapists also work in close collaboration with sports scientists and other health professionals in providing interprofessional sports services among our athletes. So in our own university, we also have a sports science program, and we also have physical education programs that we collaborate with when we deal with athletes. Physical therapists are movement specialists providing services that develop, maintain, and restore the athlete's maximum movement and functional ability. So, physical therapists are involved on these three aspects: conditioning programs, injury prevention, and sports rehabilitation for those who have already acquired the injury. So for the first two, conditioning and injury prevention, exercise training is essential in order to allow our athletes to become fit in order for them to effectively compete without getting injured. So I think a strong conditioning program with adequate exercise intensity and of course incorporation of adequate rest minimizes the risk for injuries while maximizing the athletic performance. For the third one, on rehabilitation, it involves interventions that minimizes inflammation, it reestablishes neuromuscular control and proprioception, it regains balance, postural control, and even improves cardiopulmonary endurance. So it may sound very simple that these can be done with simple training and exercises. However, in the physical therapy point of view, what really makes this challenging is the decision making as to when and how to progress the program. So sometimes the competitive nature of sports warrant aggressive approaches. So sometimes we want them to return immediately to the sports. Oftentimes, this makes the condition even worse. Thus, sports rehabilitation should entail careful and prudent use of clinical reasoning and decision making. So sports rehabilitation is actually a process of deciding when an injured player or athlete may safely return to practice or to competition. So the rehabilitation process begins after sports injury. Usually during the acute stages, first aid and acute therapeutic management are done. And the primary goal during this stage is to control the inflammation and to prevent complications. And depending on the condition and extent of injuries, therapeutic interventions that are more sport specific are carefully being progressed with the aim of allowing the injured player to return to training or competition with reduced risk for re-injury. So the COVID-19 pandemic has significantly affected everyone, including sports-related activities. So this particular article presents how adjustments are being done worldwide by everyone involved in sports, stating that there is actually a need to relook into the conservative management of common sports-related injuries, such as awareness programs, preventive programs, and adequate monitoring. This article also highlighted the use of technology in carrying out certain management through telecoaching or telerehabilitation, where online portals are maximized to deliver the sports management programs to our athletes. So the advent of motion analysis, and I think Dr. Rayu already gave some information already a while ago about motion analysis. It allows detailed analysis of the complex human motion that goes beyond the capacity of the naked eye. These innovative advancements improves our ability to measure force, acceleration, muscle activation, and many other physiologic parameters. And all these variables are valuable among our athletes, even to coaches, sports trainers, researchers, and even to us clinicians. However, most information gathered from the research studies were not easily translated into clinical practice due to various reasons. There are some clinicians who are intimidated to read research studies that they perceive it as a very daunting task. Some clinicians are not yet oriented to evidence-based practice, and other clinicians are resistant to change, even though these changes are proven to be effective already and safe. So I think these are the common barriers why there is some difficulty in translating the literature into the actual practice. So for biomechanical analysis, as we all know, bio pertaining to body parts and mechanics deals with motion and forces is the scientific study on how the body works based on behavioral characteristic of the body parts with each other, and it is observable. I want to emphasize that it is observed. So since it is observable, it gives us an idea now that movement can actually be analyzed both qualitatively and quantitatively. So what does the biomechanical analysis include? So there's the preparation, observation, evaluation, and intervention. So for the first one, under the preparation, so when we do biomechanical analysis, it's important that we have adequate knowledge, expertise, and we have a good idea on what particular motion we want to really assess, so that we will be able to prepare well the materials, the motion, and even all the necessary programs that we need for our analysis. Next, the observation. So it's this aspect of biomechanical analysis includes the use of the observer's senses, and usually it begins with the simple use of vision. So we just observe how they perform, how they move. But of course, it entails more objective way of determining the biomechanics. So Now there's the advent of the use of sensor technology in order to come up with more objective way of analyzing. Next is evaluation, wherein analysis is done in various methods, wherein we judge the quality of motion qualitatively, and we also measure the motion quantitatively. Then lastly is the intervention. So I think as a physical therapist, our main goal is really to provide an adequate intervention program for our athletes. So it's either to prevent injuries or to correct faulty mechanics if they are already injured. So all these four phases are very relevant to physical therapy practice, and I think not just to physical therapy practice, even to sports scientists and other coaches, because we want to follow an evidence-based approach of doing our interventions based on the literatures and based on the objective evaluation that we are doing among our athletes. So physical therapists apply biomechanical analysis ranging from the simplest visual observation up to the complex technology-based analysis. So for the visual observation, advantages include they are simple, cheap, quick, readily available, and they provide wide array of qualitative findings. However, of course, the drawback is they provide less accurate information and they are very subjective. So now for the technology-based analysis, they are more accurate. It allows more objective findings, both qualitatively and quantitatively. And maybe another advantage is we can review or even store or save copies of video results of our athletes. However, of course, part of its disadvantage is that it's expensive, it's bulky. Sometimes we have multiple camera systems, we even have the force plate systems, and sometimes it's difficult to use in the actual playing environment. However, we envy the setup of Dr. Ryu because they were able to integrate it already in their field when they are assessing the runners. So hopefully we also get to have that kind of setup. However, for now, I think most of us will find it as a disadvantage because it's still difficult to use it in the actual playing environment. So for the use of technology, there are different means to use this technology. First is through the manual video-based analysis wherein we just record the performance of the athlete and it can be reviewed offline or asynchronously. So there's the asynchronous analysis and we usually use our camera phones or our video cameras to capture this motion and the best way, the advantage of it is that we can review it at our own convenient time. However, of course, one of its disadvantages is that it only allows two-dimensional analysis. So what is really accessible for us and to everyone here is the use of mobile phones. So the camera phones, an example of it are the different applications. Here, these are just some of the applications and there are still many other applications that we can actually use in analyzing our athletes. So here's just a sample application on how to use the manual video-based analysis. So we can assess the mechanics of foot placement, similar to what was presented also a while ago, whether there's the heel strike or the forefoot strike, when does it happen? Is it during the mid stance? How do we describe the initial contact and foot strike? So all these information can be gathered using the manual video-based analysis. But I think another important use is the determination of animal alignment. So oftentimes this is being neglected during trainings or practices of the athletes. We just keep them practicing, running, jumping, or doing certain exercises without focusing much on the alignment of the different body parts. But please take note that malalignment increases risk for injuries because of the biomechanical faults and the repetitive stresses brought about by this malalignment. So that's why I would like to emphasize that looking at or considering these malalignment is also very important in preventing injuries among our athletes. Another possible use is, for example, in running, it is used as an outcome measure to determine whether the intervention is effective already or not. So what you can see in this picture, there's the before the intervention and after the intervention, and we will get to see and compare the differences before and after. So this is a good way also to motivate our athletes in improving their performance, and it is also an objective way in presenting to our athletes that at least after an injury, they are really doing very well right now. So here's just another photo of the application, but now in jumping. So maybe if we have manual video-based analysis, then there's the possibility of replay, pausing it, measuring the different frames, the angles. Okay, so the different parameters such as vertical jump height, okay, the duration of the jumping, joint angles, and power. So all these things can actually be measured by using even the simple technology that we have right now. So even on throwing, we can also determine the mechanics of the upper extremity movement, the trunk movement, and even the lower extremity movements. So that's for the manual video-based analysis. Another way of integrating technology is by using the GPS or the Global Positioning System analysis. So wherein sensors are being used and attached on the athletes, and the data are telemetered to a receiver or computer, allowing real-time analysis of the movement. So maybe the advantage of this one over the previous one is that this one becomes more synchronous. And there is also the automatic video-based analysis through the use of the 3D motion analyzer captured by the camera systems, which also allows real-time data analysis, and it also allows asynchronous analysis of data. So there is the concurrent analysis of multiple athletes with this kind of system. So aside from the motion analysis, we can also do the force analysis. So these are just a few examples of the technologies that are available. So we can use the dynamometers to measure the strength of the muscles, and we can also use the force plates to determine the ground reaction forces. And there is also the muscle activation measurement through the use of the surface electromyography or EMG, at which the electrical activity is generated and it's being measured through the electrodes so that it provides information on the intensity of muscle contraction. So allowing now the temporal and sequential order of muscle activation. So I would like to share now my own experience about the use of this technology. So here's a research study that we've presented in Manchester, UK during the International Society of Biomechanics 3D Motion Analysis Conference. So for this particular study, we check the ankle proprioceptive error using the 3D motion analysis among basketball players with chronic ankle instability. So for this particular study, we compared the usual goniometric measurement of range of motion and the three-dimensional motion analysis in terms of their sensitivity and specificity. And we found that, of course, 3D motion analysis provides more accurate measurement. And it is found to be capable in detecting even the smaller joint movements accurately. So this procedure can therefore detect accurate information about the joint positioning reactions of the joint, which is very valuable when assessing proprioception. Because with proprioceptive error, we want to know the difference between the angles. Even the slightest degree of change should be measured here. So for our study, we found that the proprioceptive errors between the injured and the uninjured ankles of both the subtalar and the transverse tarsal joints were different. So if you will notice, the proprioceptive error here ranges between 5 to 7, which is much higher for the injured ankles as compared to the uninjured ankles, which only ranges between 2 to less than 5 to almost 5 errors when pertaining to proprioceptive error. So we found that at least proprioceptive error of 5 degree or even greater than that was present on the injured ankles. So it means that they find it very difficult to replicate the joint motion when placed at a particular range or angle because of their ability to sense the motion. And based on the literature, proprioception is one of the most common risk factor for ankle injuries, ankle instabilities, and even re-injuries. And not just of the ankle, even of the lower extremity joints. That's why it's a very important variable to look into. So for this particular slide, it shows our result stating that the players with transverse tarsal proprioceptive error of greater than 5 were almost 7 times, almost it's 6.68 here. So it's almost 7 times more likely to sustain ankle re-injury. So imagine gathering this particular kind of information data in at least projecting the chance of them getting or suffering from ankle injuries. So this angle, 6 to 7 degrees, it might sound very small, but when we use the advanced technology, it is actually possible to determine this particular degree, this particular angle, no matter how small it is. So now the difference in the proprioceptive errors seem to be small, but with the use of the 3D motion systems, these small differences were determined to come up with a more accurate, with a more objective measurement of proprioception, including the proprioceptive error for the ankle sprain injuries of our patients. So now, as I go into the conclusion, based on my presentation, I've shown that biomechanics is really important and significant in sports training, which I think all of us will all agree with it. But integrating it with the technology is very useful in our practice. And the information that we can gather from this one, from integrating the biomechanics and the use of technology into our practice, is very relevant. So the biomechanics do not just promote effective sports performance, but I would like to underline as well the safety, okay? The word safe here. So we also measure biomechanical variables because we want to ensure safe sports performance by our athletes. So these variables or these numbers that we are getting from the technological mechanisms are not just used for performance improvement, but we want also to prevent injuries and we want also our athletes to become safe. So in the development of active and healthy communities, sports gave a dynamic contribution. So we want to optimize.
To COVID, important thing, you have to do physical activity.
Yes, right.
Proportional minimum 30 minutes. That's right? Yeah.
Yes, right, right.
Okay. Yep. The next questions for Professor Nagahara. I will rate what kind of training that we need to support your research and which training is wrong. Okay, we have three more questions, and then because of limited time, we have to finish this panelist. Professor Nagara, are you there? Okay, while waiting, Prof. Nagara, I will read the next question. Is there any way to improve the position of the leg while running? Is there a special training program? I think this question for Mr. Christian Ray and Nagahara. Also, maybe Prof. Nelvi can help to answer. Please.
Okay. Yes, maybe I can answer it first. So for the question, to legs while running. So I think for biomechanical perspective, the alignment of the different joints, including the legs, are very important. So maybe we need to find first what causes the malalignment of that leg. And usually it is because of different reasons. Number one, sometimes patients who present with flat-footedness, so if they have a flat foot, and that's a time that they present with some malalignment with the leg. Or sometimes it's because of the tightness of the iliotibial band, or of the tightness of the, or weakness of the gluteus maximus muscle. So if we assess thoroughly our athletes and we find that, for example, if it is brought about by the flat-footedness or if it is brought about by the tightness of the iliotibial band or the weakness of the gluteus maximus, then we can specifically intervene with that. So we need to increase first the flexibility of the iliotibial band. Maybe we can do some motor control training of for the flat-footedness. We can recruit the tibialis posterior muscle so that it will promote some arch in the foot, or we can do some strengthening program for the gluteus maximus muscle so that it will be able to correct the malalignment of the runners. So I don't think that there's really a very special training program for them because these exercises are simple and common exercises that we can only already integrate with our training programs. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Christian Ray. One more question for you. Is the biomechanic analysis already implemented in your national athlete? Special
Okay.
2 years ago, I come to your university. I look around your facility, but I don't think so. That's time already implementation. Can you explain?
Oh, yes, yes. So thank you for that question. Yes, biomechanics so far in our university, it's mostly integrated in researches for now. And some of the athletic teams are already doing their biomechanical analysis. So we just started them a few years ago. So we are still in the process of improving them. We are still in the process of integrating it on all the sports that we have in our university. But at least it's something that we are dreaming in the near future to incorporate that kind of program on all of our athletes in our university. But we've started it already. There are some biomechanical measurements that were being done already. Not just biomechanical, there's also the physiologic measurements that's being integrated into our system in our university.
Okay, thank you, Christian Ray. I think this is enough for the questions. Uh, Congratulations for Prof. Nelvi, you didn't got a question from the audience. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the conclusion for this panels. Today we got new experience, new knowledge about sport biomechanics, sport technology, sport physiology, then sport therapy, and then this one make us more exciting to learn about sports science. Finally, I want to say thank you for Professor Neville for attending with us, Professor Nagahara, Professor James Tangkudung, and Kristen Rai from Philippines. Thank you very much for your sharing knowledge in this panel sessions. And from me, Susilo, let's move, keep moving, be active, be LLT. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi
Bye bye.
wabarakatuh. Salam olahraga.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
So we go back to MC.
Thank you to Mr. Susilo for moderating the panel session with the speakers. I also would like to say thank you to the speakers. Honorable speakers and guests, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our agendas today on Advanced in Sport Engineering Conference, ASAC 2020, Technology and Physical Movement, Innovation through Diversity. May everything we've witnessed and discussed will be a valuable experience in the future. On behalf of the committee, allow me to express our deepest and sincerest gratitude for your kind participation to this program. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you to all speakers.
Alhamdulillah. Terima kasih Pak Dekan. Itu dan kesempatan pertama kali jadi moderator. Terima kasih guys. Terima kasih Pak Dekan. Enggak.
Bagi seluruh presenter yang akan mengikuti oral presentation siang ini, room meeting akan dibuka pada pukul 12.30 dengan link Zoom yang sama. To all presenters this afternoon, the room meeting for oral presentation will be open at 12:30 with the same room. See you.